that thing where you're still plugging in your tripod and then all of a sudden hit start. I was wondering if that. It was like right in the moment that I was wondering, am I going to accidentally hit start? So hi, we're just wobbly getting this on its track. Give me a minute here. I was just thinking too that I have been doing these so often that I was wondering, like, I wonder if people just don't even think I'm nervous anymore. And I do kind of get a little bit nervous, not totally nervous, but I'm like, I want it to be great and I would love for people to be here. And so for those of you who are here, give me some likes and say hello and let me know that you're here. Today we are talking, oh, sorry for this wobble. I'm using a new tripod thingamajiggy and it's trying to make sure it's straight. No, it's not straight at all. So thank you so much for joining today, and thrilled you're here. Today we're going to be talking all about hiring, and forgive my wobbliness as I get my tripod possibly working out, or it might be just sideways the whole time today. And so yeah, today we're going to be talking about hiring and delegating, and I also want to say that my assistant is actually out of town this week, and so I'm really feeling it in particular, feeling the brunt of that, mostly in just missing the collaboration. And for any of you guys, I have sunscreen in my eye right now, for any of you guys who have been hiring or haven't hired yet, but you are a solopreneur and you work on your own, I will say one of the huge benefits and one of the things that I really realized is that while I largely run my business on my own and it's just me, one thing that I really know to be true is that I absolutely love collaborating with others. And so for that reason, it's so great to have somebody on my team so that I can really collaborate with her on the projects. So for any of you who are solo entrepreneurs or kind of running your own jam, but you actually really miss the collaboration, hiring and working with some other people on your team in your stuff can be just so fun. So as I'm missing my online business manager this week, because she's off running an event of her own, she's amazing, then I'm really noticing like just how much I value that working back and forth. And I have that, this is what I've also created with my clients and such as well. So something, as we're kicking off this discussion, just to notice, what part of you may really actually just work better in collaboration, and recognizing that, yes, you can find a collaborator and do that, but you can also find a professional. And the way I like to even talk to my clients about when they are hiring and delegating is that it's like, imagine duplicating yourself. Or what I like to say is like, good morning, Janet. That I like to say is like having, imagine you're like kind of like this octopus, right, with like 8 arms. So the fact that for me, a lot of the work that I do with my online business managers and the people that I hire is really having them help me get my content out there. I always am saying like I'm drowning in a sea of content because I create so much. I literally have like stacks of journals full of writing and videos and video series that like never see the light of day. So a lot of my team is actually really designed around helping me post the blog posts, record and edit and post the videos, then cross-post that into different places where we know it's going to be getting some different eyeballs and different people visiting. I'm wondering if you guys can give me some likes or give me a comment and let me know how my audio is. This morning I'm just going to plug in my headphones. I have a feeling it's a little bit better audio. So I'd also be curious to hear for anyone who's watching, what is your, okay, now definitely tell me if you can hear me because I should be plugged in. I'd be curious how you have structured your, thank you, your hiring and what that looks like in your business right now. And I shared actually a little bit of this on the post when we were talking about email overwhelm, and it gives a great view into the structure of my business. But I'll just give you guys an example that essentially what I have right now is an online business manager who, I can go into this whole realm of management, which I will in a second because it's so vital to this conversation. But she's my online business manager that really is kind of like an assistant that does a lot of things. She's really, really skilled technically, and then also is great at just kind of managing all the pieces. She was doing a lot of like my social media and some of that kind of work, and essentially really I need her skills. Talk about, double down on your genius. I need her skills and her talent to be working on other things. And so as we have kind of worked, like evolved her role. At one point, I was like, all right, if you want to go out and find a social media person. So this was the best part, especially if any of you guys have stepped into the hiring world and all that it requires to hire, is that she actually went out and found that person, interviewed her, hired her, got the contract ready. I, of course, reviewed it, but did all of that. And I literally waved to our new social media person and we gave her a trial run for a few weeks. And it wasn't until all that happened, she was trained by my online business manager, everything, that then a few weeks in, after she was doing good, she was liking it, we were liking her work, that then I got on the phone with her. So such a great example of how if you don't feel like you are someone that has the space or the bandwidth to hire, how you can actually, bring on a trusted associate in your business, this online business manager, or even another assistant. I was actually having another one of my guys prior to this online business manager. I had a guy who kind of just was like, he helped me with everything, which was awesome. And same with him. I gave him the keys to my Upwork, and if we needed somebody that would do some coding on the website or something like that, I'd say, great, go on Upwork, find them, review all their things. And at least you've got that someone that's kind of on the first line to help you with the stuff, the admin tasks that really you don't need to be doing. So I want to take a step back and talk about a little bit more high level when it comes to hiring and delegating, because this is something that I see so often. As you guys all know, I end up talking about mindset a lot. I don't actually call it mindset, but you guys know it as mindset, so I'll use that word. Getting this sunscreen out of my eye, which is the mindset around hiring. And what I find so often is that I'll hear especially if you've been through hiring at all before, but even if you haven't, the sort of first layer of somebody wanting to hire somebody new is usually overwhelm, because you're either finding that you need to hire somebody because there's something that you can't do, or you don't have time, or you are so busy that you simply don't have, things are falling through the cracks and you just desperately need more hands, more bodies, more eyeballs. And this was inspired actually off of a post recently, and actually I think I mentioned this last week, which inspired this topic today. This post where this woman was like, I can't get to all of the stuff that's on my list by the end of the day, and every single day at the end of the list there's still so much to do. And it was fascinating because she was asking about an app, about what would help her, keep it all organized, or magically be able to let her do more. And I was like, it's not an app, it's a person. And I'm a big believer in bringing on systems that support you in your business, but I'm also a really, really huge believer in investing in people, because when I first hired I've had many interns over the years that were incredible. I mean, definitely one of my first interns in 2011 just helped me in my business immeasurably, and I learned so much even from her, which was fantastic. And she went on to work with me in other roles and everything, which was great. Shout out to Camille, if any of you guys know her. She's fantastic and she was great. And then also just recognizing that then the next person that I brought in, and I will never forget, I was at a place in my business where I was like, I do not have the money to do this. I was already renting an office outside of my home, and I just really felt like, how can I do this? How can I, even afford? And I found somebody who was willing to work with me for like $200 a month. It was like this little like gateway drug, but it was awesome because as soon as I brought her on, and then I also had this other team that was working with me at the time doing design and development, which is something at the time I was offering to my clients as well. And as soon as I had those people in place, my business took off. And so this is actually, some of you guys have heard me say this, but I often reference the energetic close sign that we can have in our business. I've got my morning kombucha for anyone. Kombucha fans out there. So often we will have like an energetic close sign. And I really think that this is important to acknowledge and recognize. Hi, Sheldon. When in your own business, if you are putting up an energetic close sign, now this can happen in a few different ways where if you are just so busy, and this happens a lot, I've seen with my clients where they're in a place where they're so busy or they can't get stuff done enough, or they have just been burnt out, and maybe that's why they're even coming to me, because they're really ready to shift into something that's feeling a lot more aligned for them. And the way that they've been working is no longer working, and there's this thing that's calling them to this more aligned way of working, but they still have scars from this old way that they've been working. They still have scars from feeling burnout, from having it not be aligned, maybe even from past employees or freelancers or helpers that didn't show or went MIA. But one of the telltale signs is really thinking about if you are open to welcoming in new business in your business, welcoming in new clients, new customers, whatever that may be. Because if it is, for example, if your systems are really complicated, or if it requires all of your time and energy. So right now in my business, like there's lots of aspects of my businesses and processes that my online business manager can take care of. However, when I bring on a VIP client, I still actually do quite a bit of that work. Now, I consciously take on very few VIP clients, and that's the conscious intention that I have made in order to get them on board. Okay, thanks, Sheldon. But it's a really, really great example of where at one point, well, not even so much in my business, but I see this in my client's business where for them to bring on a client and all that's involved, maybe their bookkeeping systems aren't set up so that they aren't able to invoice them, or their contracts need to get updated, and so because that's feeling a little shaky, so all of this adds, or just simply that they don't have the bandwidth to do the work. And if you are already maxed at your limit during the day and not being able to get all the things that you need to be done, how the heck are you going to bring in new business? So there's a big like energetic close sign basically on your door, because you're not really open for business because you have no space. It's like being a shop that is so full that nobody can even walk in the door, right? So recognizing, this is why sometimes in the work I do with my clients, yes, there is this energetic alignment, but it's also about recognizing, do you even have the systems and the processes in place, and what support do you need? Maybe that you need to get out of it. And so I know recently I had a client that was just like, I need help with my invoicing and my and all her scheduling, because all of that was such a mess. So she hadn't been invoicing clients as fast. Like she literally was behind, $15,000+ in client invoices because the system was just not working for her. So if your system isn't working for you, you need new systems, and that could include another person. And in her case, definitely she is doing that, especially some of these things we think and we hold on so tight to thinking that we are the only ones that can do them, but that's absolutely not true. And in fact, what I love to, and what I invite you to do is when you are looking at hiring somebody in your business, really hold in your mind of having somebody who is like better, smarter, faster than you. Because the truth is that your genius and why you are in your business, all of your wisdom that you're bringing through, your gifts, everything that you're here, that can't be duplicated. That is you. That's your essence. That's what you're bringing out in the world. And so for you to really remember that all the other little admin tasks and all the other things that you may be really great at, that those, and actually this is a good time to come back to kind of the zone of genius. So the whole point of really being able to have somebody that you're hiring on and bringing on is so that you can really double down on your genius. The other levels leading up to your zone of genius are zone of competence, and zone of excellence. And often we get, kind of stuck at this zone of excellence where that's where people are paying us a lot of money for it. So for a long time, way back when I was doing web design, I had people, just like, knocking on my door being like, I'll give you tens of thousands of dollars for this work that inevitably I knew just was not my heart song, was not, what I really was, the work that I was really here to do in the world. And so it doesn't mean that it has to be black or white as well. When you're kind of, this is why it's a spiral, sometimes we spiral back down, but then you spiral back up to your zone of genius. So really remembering it's not black and white, but that's something that I have found, so I can dip in. Yesterday I actually was like helping work on this sales page, and I am really good at it. Like, it's so funny because I was just thinking like, I am so good at this, but it is totally my zone of excellence, if not sometimes my zone of competence, and it's not my zone of genius. And what that means is that I actually will, after a while, start noticing a little bit of a resentment or a little bit of like, why have I been doing this for so long? Like stuck at my computer, staring at this page, wrestling with WordPress, like trying to figure this out. It doesn't bring me joy. On the other hand, I can be working with clients and doing this incredibly transformational work. Honestly, like even, sitting here being able to share with you and this guidance and this wisdom and really letting that come through. And then if we were able to have an exchange, all of that is so in my genius. And I love, doing workshops and really working with others and connecting with others in that way. So back to the hiring piece, a really great also model for this, I have like just crooked all day long on my video, which is fine, is to talk about the E-Myth. And if any of you guys have not read that book yet, do read it. It is really excellent. The E-Myth essentially stands for the entrepreneur myth, which is that if just kind of the myth that if you're an entrepreneur, you can go out and make the successful business. Give some likes on the video if you have read the E-Myth, and if you like it, it's really an incredible book. And essentially what he goes into, the whole story that he uses is that there's a pie maker, and so everyone's like, oh my God, your pies are amazing, you should totally sell these. And so she's like, okay, I'm going to open up a business with my pies. Everyone loves my pies. So she opens the business, and next thing you know, she's not only baking the pies, but she's sweeping the floor and managing the money and hiring the people and welcoming the customers and handling problems. And she's there morning till night, and she has to, get new inventory and all the stuff, all the many hats, right, that you have to wear as a business owner. So the E-Myth breaks it down that there's the technician, that's usually the person on the front line making the pies, basically. Then there's the manager, and then there's the entrepreneur. The entrepreneur has the big vision. This is why we know so many CEOs and who are just like driving their whole team crazy, because they are like squirrel, and they've got this big vision, and they just, want to like save the world, right? So this is largely what our entrepreneurs are out there being run by right now, are these like huge visionaries, and it's who I work with, are these awesome visionaries who are also really skilled technicians. So I work with everyone from, naturopaths to writers to artists, anyone who really has this creative force or message coming through them and has so many ideas. And so what ends up happening though is that their visionaries often and creatives often are incredible on the front lines. They're incredible technicians. in whatever their craft is, right? And they also have these big ideas. They're huge ideators. And so actually in another framework, this is the ideator and the implementer. And those are my strong skills. There's also the developer and the researcher. So you can also get stuck in research, as you can imagine. And then the developer, some of the pros and cons is you're really good at making this like the best thing ever, but you don't want to do it over and over and over again. You kind of like, once you've done it once, you're kind of done. So I am an implementer, an ideator and an implementer. And so that has like massive skills. This is why you see me have brilliant ideas and then kick them out to the world. But it also has its cons as well. And this is where I need to bring in strength on my team in these other areas. So going back to the E-Myth, where entrepreneur, manager, technician, in that alone is this layer, the management layer, which is that if I'm doing my coaching, my writing, my speaking, all the stuff on the technician layer, and I've got this big vision for what's possible, I've got visionary down, no problem in my business, then it's really the management layer, which is always like the unsexiest layer for any like creative and visionary. I am actually, I think, extra geeky when it comes to this layer because I love systems and I love processes and can really get into a solid to-do list. But for most, that management layer is what actually falls short. And one of the first kind of front, like presenting problems that you can really notice is your own self-management. So if your self-management is off in some way, if you're not able to really like keep to your own deadlines, if you're not able to really keep to your own promises to yourself in some way, shape, or form, then really looking first at your own self-management and kind of trying to shore that up. And that could include, cleaning your desk and, starting to be more in relationship with your calendar, things like that. But that at minimum, you're bringing somebody in, and this is going to make your you have to get to be a better manager when some people come on board, because you can't just fall back into victim of like, you have to do everything, I don't know how to do anything, because it's not true. You do know how to run your business. So it teaches you so many leadership skills, so many management skills, but the benefit is that all that like kind of unsexy part for the visionary and for those who are busy on the front lines of their business, don't fall through the cracks. So emails get replied to faster, little pieces that when you're in your visionary state and you're just like rocking and rolling and you've got like tons of ideas, that somebody is taking those down. And again, they don't get lost or fall through the cracks, right? So one of the things to just remember is, where can you double down on your genius? So you identifying your genius, what is the work that really you need to be doing? And that could be that you're great at sales. I've had clients that came to work with me and they just did not even think they were good at sales. It was not their strong suit. They didn't want to do it. And now they're in a place they finally like hire, because they were, so in this example, she was a designer. So she was really great at the design. She's like, I just want to do the design all the time, and can't somebody do the sales for me? Well, now she's actually gotten so great at the sales. She's like, I love working with my clients. She does the high level strategy with them. She has an amazing team that she's hired. Again, she was afraid of finding somebody who is as good of a designer. And so we worked on her mindset around this to really remember that you can find people who are just as good, if not better, faster, more talented, super passionate. I mean, that's why I got out of doing design and development myself, because I was like, there is somebody who cares so much more about this. And I'm so happy that I get to hire someone else in their genius, doing what they love, and then I get to really double down on my genius. So as soon as she found that, and she has this amazing team now of people that she can count on in that area, she was able to go, wow, now I can just work with these clients, and she can close bigger deals. And her energetic, close sign is now open, because not only does she have the team in place, she's got the systems in place, she's better at the sales conversation. So her business has like tripled in revenue since we started working together, if not more. So really looking at the mindset, one last thing I'll share with you before we complete today is along the same lines of this mindset is looking at the whole premise of, should you hire now? When do you hire, essentially, right? And one of the things there that I will just say is that you always hire, everyone's like, you'll know when you need to hire, or, I've heard other people say like, don't hire until you have to. But I actually am a really, really big believer of hiring before you think you're ready. It's kind of like launching before you think you're ready, right? Because inevitably there's things right now. So if you kind of look at the trajectory of where your business is going, so let's kind of go up and to the right here. I think it's up and to the right for you guys. I don't know. Maybe it's this way. But you get the idea. So essentially, on this trajectory of growth that you're working on, the more you're able to stay in your zone of genius, the more you're able to concentrate on what are the things that are going to, get you sales or get you more clients, grow your business. So this is all about sustainable growth, making sure that, number one, of course, you wouldn't want to hire too fast or maybe get so much inventory that you then have, overspent on inventory or people, and therefore all of a sudden you don't have the money to keep the lights on and your overheads, right? So you can kind of grow too fast and then not work out. But you can also, and this happens way more often, is you grow too slow. You'd have to have probably like a bit of money in the bank, and this is why we see some startups with VC funding that end up like, going broke because they've just spent all their money so fast. So what often happens, way more often than the other, is that people grow too slow and they're in that total survival mode. And what happens is they don't bring on more people, which means they can't bring on more clients, which means they can't grow. And so if you are planning growth of any kind, and you may still really value a small business, which I think is fantastic, you can totally keep a really small, sweet little business. However, for you to also stay really engaged with it, for you to stay really working in your zone of genius, to be able to hire people, know then that you're able to serve more people or even just serve them better, which means you'll be able to raise your prices. All of this is what is that sustainable growth. So in order to really, like I shared with you in the example, when I brought on more people in my business and essentially, duplicated myself, gave myself more arms in my business, was able then to, open my energetic, open sign basically to say, okay, now I can bring in more clients. I have more time to talk to them. I have more space to think about new ideas of new products that I could put out. I've even got some of my clients are talking to, my assistants or my team members. So it's not just me that's all on the front lines of talking to everybody, things like that. I was able to grow. And so oftentimes you need someone before you even think you do, because otherwise you're spending all this precious time. I mean, your hours in your day are so precious. And so the fact that you're spending, possibly hours working on your website, or even days, weeks or not at all because you don't know how, working on something that needs to get done, when you have people on your team and you're able to iterate, this is all about, kind of progress over perfection. When you're able to throw more spaghetti at the wall faster because you've got more hands, helping you, then you're able to fail faster, test more, ask for the sale more, put out different products, see what works. You've just got more brain space as well and heart space as well. So hiring before you think you're ready, even if it's like the smallest thing, to help you with your books, I would say number one is the number one thing that every business owner needs to have, because if you're not currently managing your books, then that can be a huge place where you have that energetic close sign because your money and the foundation of it isn't solid. And then for you just to really recognize that it's gonna require some time as well to get this person onboarded. And so all the training then that goes in, and if it's your first person, you will learn a lot. But that if you've had any scars of people bailing out in the years past, you'll just remember, just like any relationship, you learn from those. And so you have to really support yourself through remembering that you've learned, which means you're going to ask different interview questions. You're going to ask, you're going to look for different signs in the person. And so as we're closing out this video, actually, I'll give you my one tip that I give to all of my clients when they're first hiring is your first job, if you're looking for somebody new, is to create a wish list. and for you to remember, just as if you wanted to manifest a new home into your life or a new partner into your life, that your wish list for this new hire can have everything you desire on there. So it could be that they just absolutely love Excel, or, you know, and it's like your logical mind wants to, because maybe you don't love it, that you're just like, who would ever love that? I promise you, you will find somebody out there who absolutely loves it, you know, things like that. You could really require, and this is something I require, I want my team to have a sense of humor, you know, and so my wish list is like, you know, that they have a sense of humor, it feels really light and fun when we work together, you know, we can laugh, that they're really tech savvy and really smart, because otherwise I don't want to be training them and teaching them the whole time, right? I'd love to even have them teach me a few new tricks sometimes. And so all those things, you know, get your wish list really, really loud and clear. And really what you want to focus on through all this, especially if it feels really heavy or really intense for you when you're looking to hire somebody, and all of the pieces and all the interviewing, and if you kind of start just feeling yourself energetically be like, oh, I don't know, and then am I going to find the right person, and you know, all that, the kind of energetic heaviness that you can start to feel, keep focused on the outcome. What is the outcome that you desire? Who is that person? What will it look like when you have found them? What will be happening in your business? You can really do a beautiful visualization on this. And my friend Michael Light actually has a book, and we did this whole process. I can actually share with you guys in the comments. We did a whole process for me calling in. This is actually before I found my online business manager, and it completely worked. We called in, who is this person, and what does it feel like when she's in my business? And he had me have us all sitting around in a circle, and I was there sitting with my team, and I could kind of just feel like their energetic presence, and so I was really like kind of calling them into the circle of my business and energetically feeling into that. So really inviting all of you guys to share with me in the comments. I'd love to hear any hiring tips and tricks you have, any questions you have. I'm thinking about putting a course together on this because I think it is incredibly, incredibly valuable, and I'm starting to get to the place where I don't want to work with anyone one-on-one unless I know they have a team to support them with implementation. It's that crucial at this point, especially if you are a visionary and if you are somebody that is doing really, really big work in the world. So all the best on your path. Thank you so much for being here. Give me some likes. I love your comments as well, and feel free to share these videos. There's a bunch now in the videos section, and I also post them on YouTube, and would love to see you over there as well if you are a subscriber on YouTube. Have a great day or evening wherever you are. Lots of love.